Hey there, wake up. It's Means Morning News. Just after 11 a.m. on the East Coast, I'm the newsman, Sam Sachs. Good morning to everyone, including the team of lawyers here in the studio, watching me like a hawk, given the subject matter of today's show. I mean, what do you guys think I'm going to say? And we begin with some good news. We begin with just some news. The chief executive of the largest health insurance company in the U.S. was shot and killed in Midtown Manhattan Wednesday in a targeted assassination. United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was murdered just before 7 a.m. as he was walking into the Hilton Hotel where his company was hosting an investor conference. Thompson worked at the health insurance giant for 20 years. He ascended to the role of chief executive in 2021. So far, police haven't apprehended or even identified a suspect. As for who it could be, well, frankly, a lot of people. That's because the company is in the business of exploiting sick people. Like other private health insurers, United Healthcare makes money denying medical care. The more care it denies, the more profit it makes. And United Healthcare makes a lot of profits, $22 billion just last year. At the same time, when a health insurance company denies care, it's often ruining someone's life. The stakes are extremely high when it comes to healthcare. This isn't like getting screwed over by the plumber. This is life and death. According to a class action lawsuit filed against the company last year, United Healthcare employed an AI model to deny claims to elderly patients on Medicare Advantage plans. The suit was brought on behalf of two families of deceased beneficiaries, and it accused United Healthcare of overriding doctor recommendations on medically necessary care and instead relying on an AI model that it knew had a 90% error rate. Reading from the lawsuit, quote, "Despite the high error rate, defendants continue to systematically deny claims using their flawed AI model because they know that only a tiny minority of policyholders, roughly 0.2%, will appeal denied claims, and the vast majority will either pay out-of-pocket costs or forego the remainder of their prescribed post-acute care. Defendants bank on the patient's impaired conditions, lack of knowledge, and lack of resources to appeal the erroneous AI-powered decisions. The fraudulent scheme affords defendants a clear financial windfall in the form of policy premiums without having to pay for promised care." Then there's this. ProPublica investigated the company last year over its denial of treatment to a Penn State college student named Christopher McNaughton, who suffered from a severe case of ulcerative colitis and who the company deemed a high-dollar account. Here's a summary of United Healthcare's antics, according to the outlet. Quote, "At one point, court records show, United inaccurately reported to Penn State and the family that McNaughton's doctor had agreed to lower the doses of his medication. Another time, a doctor paid by United concluded that denying payments for McNaughton's treatment could put his health at risk. But the company buried his report and did not consider its findings. The insurer did, however, consider a report submitted by a company doctor who rubber-stamped the recommendation of a United nurse to reject paying for the treatment." Now, obviously, McNaughton wasn't being singled out here. This is just how the company, hell, the industry, operates, especially towards those who actually get sick and need care. So when asked if Thompson wronged anyone, the answer is, yeah, a hell of a lot of people. Even his wife admitted to reporters he had received threats lately. She wasn't sure the nature of them, but did say they had to do with a lack of coverage or something, which would suggest anger over insurance claims being denied. Of course, there is a chance this has nothing to do with a disgruntled claimant. Thompson was under investigation for insider trading allegations after he dumped more than $15 million of stock in the company just weeks before it was revealed that the feds had launched an antitrust probe against United Healthcare. Thompson was able to improve his position while other investors in the company took a hit, some of whom, like the Hollywood Firefighters Pension Fund, are now suing him. So maybe it wasn't a coincidence that he was clapped outside the company's investor conference. Again, lots of potential suspects here. But the most compelling evidence so far that Thompson was killed over denied coverage is that there was a message left behind. According to authorities, the gunman wrote the words "deny, defend, and depose" on the bullet casings that were recovered at the scene. Those are words that mirror the title of a book by Jay Feynman called Delay, Deny, Defend, which is all about how insurance companies screw their customers over by delaying payments of claims, denying claims altogether, and defending their decisions during litigation. Now, look, am I going to say that Thompson deserved to be gunned down from behind on the street? No, again, the lawyers are right there. What I can say is that does seem to be the developing consensus opinion in response to his death, even among Facebook boomers. When United Healthcare posted about Thompson's death on Facebook, it got a lot of reactions. The most popular reaction, though, the gaping mouth laughing emoji. As of this recording, 31,000 people reacted to the company's Facebook post, and 26,000 of them reacted with the laughing emoji. Brian Thompson won't see everyone laughing at his death because, well, he's dead. But I assure you that other health insurance company CEOs are noticing, and some maybe for the first time realizing just how much anger there is among the citizenry toward the oligarchy. And today, they're walking around a little more uneasy than they were before. All right, we good? All right. Turning to Gaza now, here's video of the moment an Israeli airstrike hit the Al-Mawasi refugee camp, incinerating more than 20 people, including women and children. Al-Mawasi had been deemed a safe zone by the Israeli military, a place civilians could take shelter in and not be targeted. But in Gaza, there are no safe zones. Scores more were killed in other Israeli airstrikes across the enclave over the last 24 hours that targeted a hospital and a food distribution center. That's in addition to raids in the West Bank and the continued bombing of Lebanon that violates the ceasefire agreement. Meanwhile, Amnesty International has now added its name to the growing list of organizations to conclude that Israel is carrying out a genocide in Gaza. In a sweeping new report based on a 9-month investigation, the human rights group concluded Israel is violating the Genocide Convention and has operated with a specific intent to eliminate Palestinians from Gaza. Reading from the report, quote, Amnesty International has found sufficient basis to conclude that Israel committed, during the 9-month period under review, prohibited acts under Articles 2, A, B, and C of the Genocide Convention, namely killing, causing serious bodily or mental harm, and deliberately inflicting on Palestinians in Gaza conditions of life calculated to bring about their physical destruction in whole or in part. The organization has also found sufficient basis to conclude that these acts were committed with the specific intent to destroy Palestinians in Gaza, as such, who form a substantial part of the Palestinian population. Amnesty also urged the US, the UK, Germany, and EU member states to rein in their ally, Israel. That means to not render aid or assistance and to stop the transfer of weapons and security assistance to the rogue state. and to use all economic, political, and diplomatic tools to pressure Israel to end its genocidal campaign. That also includes using their respective legal systems to bring to justice anyone involved in the commission of these crimes against humanity. Amnesty also called on countries to respect the decision from the International Criminal Court, including executing any warrant requirements. The US immediately said, yeah, we're not going to do any of that stuff. In response to the report, an unnamed State Department official told the Washington Post, quote, "Our position on this has not changed, and we continue to believe that allegations of genocide are unfounded." Yep, says the government that's actively participating in said genocide. President Biden's Labor Department is building sandcastles just before high tide. But I guess the sandcastles are pretty decent. This week, Acting Labor Secretary Julie Su announced a new rule to abolish the sub-minimum wage that's paid to workers with disabilities. Dating back to the 1930s, the Labor Department has issued certificates to businesses allowing them to pay disabled workers a special minimum wage. The logic being that individuals with certain impairments are less productive and would otherwise have curtailed employment opportunities. But disability rights groups have long argued, and the Department of Labor now agrees, that this program is based on outdated thinking, and there are opportunities for everyone, disabled or not, to earn a fair wage in the economy. Currently, about 40,000 workers are enrolled in this program via these department-issued certificates, and about half of them make less than $3.50 an hour. If the rule is finalized, the department would stop issuing these certificates immediately, and employers who have workers in the program would have 3 years to bump up their pay. A number of states have already abolished the special minimum wage, and the results show that many of the workers in the program transition to full wage employment. Of course, absent Congress enshrining this into law, this rule can be scrapped immediately by Trump's Labor Department, which will take over in less than 2 months. The president-elect nominated Congresswoman Lori Chavez DeRemer to be his labor secretary. She was recommended for the job by Teamsters president Sean O'Brien, who touted her as a supporter of labor based on her support of the PRO Act. She was one of only 3 Republicans in the House to sponsor the bill. Then again, she only has a 10% voting score from the AFL-CIO, so her commitment to working people really isn't that deep. She can prove me wrong, though, by keeping Jennifer Abruzzo in her post and by preserving all the work the department has done over the last 4 years. I'm rarely proven wrong, though. For this week in working class history, we're rewinding back to 1946 for the Oakland General Strike. It occurred amid a nationwide post-World War II strike wave when workers realized that even though America's enemies had been defeated abroad, their enemies were still the bosses. This was a unique labor uprising. It occurred spontaneously after a number of transport workers saw police providing an escort to scab delivery drivers who were headed to refill the shelves at 2 department stores that had been shut down by striking clerks. Streetcar operators and bus drivers just got out of their vehicles and stopped working. They then went around to encourage other workers to strike. Most stores and shops in the city were shut down, with the exception of food stores and pharmacies. As many as 50,000 workers got involved, But the strike action never had the support of local union leadership. The Teamsters president attempted to break the strike, seeing it more as an attempt to overthrow the government rather than any sort of labor conflict. AFL and CIO leaders also rejected the strike. After 54 hours, union leadership went around and told members that they needed to return to work and that they would not be protected by the union if they continued on with the strike. Most heeded the warning, and the general strike ended, leaving the mostly female department store clerks to keep up their own labor struggle alone. Initially, striking workers demanded the resignation of the mayor and the city council. What they got at the end of the strike was an agreement from the city to not use the police to escort scabs. Workers still harbored animosity for the lack of support from union leadership. And at the next Teamsters leadership contest, most incumbent officials who were up for re-election were ousted. Thanks again to the team at Working Class History for giving us access to their archives. Check them out on social media if you want to learn more about this story and others that happened this week in working class history, including the execution of John Brown, the Montgomery bus boycott, and the Fiji oil workers strike. We'll be back with more next week. Okay, friends, the show ends this morning with a sunrise from California. It was sent in from the Sierra National Forest and features 3 friendly creatures named Yuri Kachiyama, Salvador Allende, and Carl Sagan. Enjoy. Thanks for that sunrise, gang. Show's over. Thank you for watching, and thanks to the team behind the scenes. Please sign up for Means TV. We've got a sale going on. If you're not currently subscribed, now's the time to do it because we're offering 50% off annual subscriptions. 50% off 1 year of anti-capitalist news, documentaries, shows, and more. Take advantage of this great deal by going to fucknetflix.net. Again, 50% off, but you better hurry because the sale ends soon. While you're at it, subscribe to our YouTube and podcast channels and follow us on social media, all for free. One day capitalism will fall. Till then, we're going to be right here. See you tomorrow.